Welcome to Inside New York.
That's a great question. Thank you.
Hi, this is Shaka Khan, and you're watching Inside New York.
And this year's Tony Award. This is the biggest night on Broadway.
And I'm on Inside New York.
You know, putting words together is an art. And there's one person that's been doing it for a very, very long time. He's been doing it in so many different mediums, and he's been teaching it, and we've been reading it, and we've been hearing it, and we've been seeing it on stage. He is so deserving of this award. You have something you want to say, sweetheart?
He has been a role model for so many of us in this industry and in the arts. My good friend and longtime friend, Richard Wesley.
Welcome to Inside New York. We are so honored and delighted to have back on the program an icon who is our beloved co-host, Richard Wesley, who is on the brink of receiving another Lifetime Achievement Award. Of course, we're going to talk with him about that, as well as all of the projects that he will be sharing with us first. He's also going to share with us what plays he wants to see this fall. But we're on the brink also of who will win the Senate in Georgia on December 6th. So you better stay right there because it's all right here on Inside New York.
Like you must be new customers here.
That's right.
If you get bored out here and you're looking for some real excitement, there is always the room with the red door in the back.
What's in there? $50,000.
I cannot keep up with all of the Lifetime Awards. It seems like almost every time I have you on the show, you're receiving one, Richard. But this one, I heard that you are receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from the AUDELCO this year.
Yes.
Way overdue. You have received numerous AUDELCOs. I cannot count them all.
Yes, just about for every play I've had produced in New York. It comes pretty close. Autumn, Talented Tense, The Mighty Gents, Sirens, The Past is the Past, Going Through Changes. All those plays received an AUDELCO. Yes.
Right. I almost was like, wait a second, didn't he get a Lifetime Achievement Award already?
I received something akin to a Lifetime award or a Lifetime commemoration from the National Black Theater a few years ago.
Yeah.
I forgot exactly, the Spirit Award. It was called the Spirit Award. In honor of Dr. Barbara Ann Teer, the founder of the National Black Theater. I received a special commemoration from the Center for Black Literature at Medgar Evers College last year. Howard University, an alumni legacy award from the Department of Drama and the college, the Chadwick Boseman College of Fine Arts at Howard University, my alma mater.
Oh, wow.
And
the list goes on and on. You just go on
almost
like
almost 30 years ago, I received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Black Screenwriters Organization in Los Angeles.
Okay,
So,
for all those
you know,
movies, those hit movies, those iconic movies that we all know about that I've always said in my
yeah.
introduction, but I know it's not necessary at this time. But talk about movies. The last time we spoke, you were talking about writing the screenplay for Black Terror.
Oh, yes.
What's
Well,
going on with that? Because I saw your colleagues on the red carpet at the piano lessons opening. You know who I'm talking about. Yes, I mentioned you. I said, yes, I expect to see you guys back in New York for the screening of Black Terror sometime.
Well, it's in post-production.
Oh, wow.
Yes, there seems that there are some holdups right now. The producers, Richard Lawson, and the Waco Theater, as well as the Newark Symphony Hall, who are like the entities that are the co-producers of the film. They're attempting to raise money now for some post-production work that needs to be done in the labs to raise the film up to its final levels. This has to do with color balance, the colorizing technique that's used, and they need to balance some of those things out. I don't know all the techno stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some things they want to do with the sound.
Very important.
And get that properly balanced. And these are expensive processes. So they're raising money for that. And when that's done, yes, the film will be coming out.
Wow. So you finished the screenplay. It's been acted. I mean,
yes, yes,
it's done.
they
It's in
pulled
the
the cast
can, so
together.
to speak.
Yeah, well, the screenplay is based on the play Black Terror that I wrote quite a while ago. So, I had the characters already. I had the plot, already. So it was just simply a question of, adapting the screenplay, editing out passages that might work on stage but don't really work on screen. And once that was finished, I handed the script in, and Ricky took it from there.
Well, that's wonderful. What is one of the biggest challenges? Because everybody can't do that.
No, yeah, well, yes, rather, you are right about that.
Mean,
No,
like,
not everybody can do that.
Exactly. It's like editing against yourself, which
yeah,
I
well,
can't imagine someone like August Wilson doing that. Anyway.
Yeah,
What is the biggest challenge in doing that?
I mean, August had his, he had a lot of strengths, and quite often he had too little time to do the things that he might have really wanted to do. He never expressed that I can recall a great interest in getting involved in writing screenplays, and he wanted to write for the stage, and that's where he put all of his energy.
Sure. So what allowed you to be able to do both? Because it's like wearing two separate hats. It takes a special skill to do that, I would think.
When I began my career, or thinking about a career, it wasn't writing for the stage.
Yeah.
I grew up on television. I'm a child of the 1950s, and so that was when TV first became big and had to be one in everybody's house and everything like that. People were buying televisions by the millions in those days. Anything that I understood about drama, I learned watching television dramas, either the live plays that were broadcast or the filmed anthologies that were on the air back then, Four-Star Theater, those kinds of shows. And of course the regular television series that were coming out back then. So when I went away to Howard University, I went there because I wanted to study writing for television and motion pictures. And the stage was the last thing on my mind. I had never even seen a stage play, a professional one, in my life. And when I got to the drama department, the classes in writing for television and film that had been advertised in the bulletin that I read while I was still in high school, well, those classes were not being offered. There was a budget crunch, and so the person who was going to teach television and film was not hired. And so when I found this out, I went to Owen Dotson, the chair of the department, who, as I did not know in those days, was one of the most prominent Black writers in the country, a man who had been published as far back as like the early 1940s. He was a well-renowned poet. He had all kinds of credentials. I just put it that way. And he was a personal friend of a great hero of mine, Langston Hughes.
Wow.
You know, so here I go walking into his office, sitting my bold self down, and you know, saying to him that I was very disappointed to find out that they were not offering film and TV. And I don't think I actually said these words to him, but I know I was thinking them. I'm going to transfer. I'm going to go to a school that does train writers, you know, for a stage and screen. But somewhere where I got between, I'm terribly disappointed, Professor Dotson, that there's no, you know, film and television writing courses and everything. He leaned over in his chair and looked me dead in the eye, you know, and I think he even pulled his glasses down and did one of these. Child, if I can teach you to write for the stage, you'll be able to write for anything.
Oh, right. And he was so right.
And I leaned back in my chair. I said, okay. And I stayed, and
lesson learned.
Yeah, my lesson learned. My immediate teacher, especially those first 2 years that I was there, was Ted Shine. And Ted taught playwriting. But in between, he started working with us about how to shape screenplays. No specific teaching about writing for television. Then it was you either wrote for the stage or you wrote for motion pictures. So I think across the 4 years that I was at Howard, Ted may have spent the equivalent of one class teaching us basically the fundamentals of formatting a page for a screenplay. And that was all the lesson in screenwriting that I got while I was at Howard.
Right, all he wrote.
It was okay.
Well, see, that really, you know, how fortuitous, because that is why you have that ability. I mean, you first have to have the talent, but he opened your eyes. And as he said, if you can write it for the stage, you can write for anything.
That's what Owen said to me, and I believed him.
And you proven
yes
that to be the case.
Yeah, I fell in love. In fact, I fell in love with playwriting because of Owen and Ted. Yeah. And by the time I came out of Howard, by that time, the Black arts movement had already begun. This was 1967. I had already met Amiri Baraka because he was one of Owen's students at one time during the 1950s. And so I met, Amiri, Baraka. I had been introduced to Ossie Davis because Ossie and Ruby used to come to the drama department at least once every year and just talk with us and hang out with us because they were invariably in Washington for one thing or another. And they were old friends of Owen's. So they would come up to the campus, and of course we would just get down, get down, sit cross-legged at their knee and just look up.
That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. Listening to you, I have to think, I don't know if you thought about this already, because I was thinking about, we must have the largest collection of interviews with you, Richard, that span, I know when we started, it was 5 years. And I was just trying to think how long it's been, and maybe 10 years. But I think they're going to have to set up a special room, maybe at Howard University, for all of your interviews and archives. Have you thought about that?
No, because I think if I thought about it too much, I
you start
like seeing myself as some old griot sitting under a tree.
No, but
I have all these things that I want to do, and I want to keep active and stuff and keep going. So I don't,
put some of the, all of this history somewhere.
Well, it is. It's in that memoir that I wrote.
Yes.
It's always loud in the balcony.
That's right.
Some of this information it's in another form, but it's in there.
Which we have to still do. We said after COVID, we were going to have a book signing. We're still ready to do that. I don't know when and where, but we definitely need to do that. Unfortunately, we're not over COVID yet, but
no, we got all these. Plus, now we got all these other little things running around that grew out of COVID, I suspect, and we'll have to, but
we'll have to.
I have faith that things are going to start turning around.
Well, okay. So any other projects, you got so much going on, and is there a projection?
There's some people talking to me. I can't say anything just yet, but there's some people talking to me.
Okay. Well, you need to bring us in the loop.
Well, there's I had told you off camera one other time, and I also did this on camera the last time I was on the show. There is another play. I haven't finished it yet. It's giving me some problems, and that's the main thing. But when that play is ready to be stood up on its feet in production, once I know that, and they're putting a contract in front of me for me to sign, I'm calling Joan Allen so I can get on Inside New York so she can get the exclusive on that.
All right.
You're going to get the exclusive on that.
Okay.
That's an absolute promise.
Can you repeat that again?
I'm saying Joan Allen, when I have this play ready, you will know exclusively.
Okay.
You, before anybody else in the world, will know that I have this play coming, and I'll tell you where it's coming and when. And I will do it on the air on Inside New York.
And I want to be behind the scenes also, since it's taken this long for this new play. I want to be on the set, maybe during the rehearsal, so we can show some behind the scenes action.
I think I can arrange that.
All right. Okay, you heard it first right here on Inside New York. Now, we're going to go quickly change up and talk about this midterm election, because all of the people that we've spoke about are artists and activists, and we can't have art without activism. So,
Well,
you know,
the
we have
midterms,
something to celebrate. I mean, you can have art, but as far as Black art is concerned, it is a struggle to get our work seen and supported. And going back to the 60s, it is those that have been active on both fronts. When we talk about Ossie Davis, Amira Baraka, Langston Hughes,
yes.
artists have a commitment to speak out and help empower the public, and they can do so with their work and their words, which you've done so eloquently, Richard.
Well, I think, I think this midterm inspired the concerns that roiled around these midterm elections have inspired a lot of artists. A lot of people are hunkering down with their computers and typewriters and pen and ink, even scribbling down notes, typing out concepts and ideas, because they want to start tackling what almost happened. We almost, pretty much voted away the democracy that characterizes what this country is supposed to be about. We came this close, and that was their goal.
Yes,
One party
power
rule
at all
into the
costs.
future.
Yes.
At all costs, yes.
Right. And they acknowledged it publicly. I'll never forget the governor
In Wisconsin, if I'm elected governor, there'll never be another,
Right. If you vote for me, basically, I will make sure that a Republican never loses another election. Exactly. And it's scary.
Unless we, the people, stand up, and say enough is enough. And that brings it back around to people like me, artists. What we say on stage, on screen, what we say with our sculptures, what we say with our paintings, what we say with our photography, what we say with our interpretive dance, all of that, all of those areas, and what we say with our novels and short stories are all designed to strengthen the community, strengthen people's understanding of what is at stake, and give people the information and the encouragement that they need to really come out and defend this democracy, that we all, profess to cherish. And you don't have to defend it with a musket or an M16 for that matter. You defend it with your vote. You defend it by making yourself knowledgeable about what the issues are. You defend it by not, giving in to, crass headlines and propaganda, simply because you heard it on some obscure website on the internet. I mean, really?
Right.
Really? You're putting the future of the society in the hands of some radical, wingnut who is spewing information that he got from where?
Right. Yeah.
How come you're not hearing it from anywhere else?
Yeah. We all owe it to ourselves to be aware. We can't close our eyes.
Absolutely. If that's the message that keeps coming from us as artists, demanding that people think, demanding that people get out and find valid information, take it upon themselves to do that. Be informed, be active, be activated. I think that's a word you used a little bit earlier, John.
Did I? Yeah. Activate yourself.
That's it. That's it. I mean, really.
Exactly. You
You know,
just can't go around in a fog, because those that are in power or that are only concerned about power will take away your rights if you don't value them. But I want to end on a positive note and also reality check, as all of us may have felt like we dodged a bullet because it wasn't a red wave. The vote still needs to be counted.
Yes.
And we can make a difference with the Senate, with the runoff in Georgia. Even if you don't live in Georgia, we can do phone calls, phone banking. I did that the last time when there was a runoff, and it made a difference. This is nothing we can sleep on. We must do everything possible to make sure that Reverend Warnock wins in Georgia.
That's exactly right. And for those of us here in the New York City area, among the people significance that we have lost in recent weeks was the Reverend Calvin Butts, the pastor of Abyssinian Baptist Church. Reverend Butts is a graduate of Morehouse College. And at the time that he was a student there, the president of Morehouse College was a man named the Reverend Benjamin Mays, who was one of the most outstanding Black pastors of the mid-20th century. And he was also a mentor to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who is now a U.S. Senator and is in that runoff race that you just referenced, Joan, was a friend of Reverend Butts. And he is also the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, which was the former home of Martin Luther King Jr. So there's this connection that we all have. We have this connection here in this area to Dr. Butts, who had a connection to Reverend Warnock, and both of them had a connection to Dr. King.
That should be enough for certainly people of color to get out there and vote.
December 6th.
Thank you for joining us for this week's program of Inside New York. And you can watch more of our interview with Richard Wesley on one of our upcoming programs. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring the bell so you'll receive an alert when it's available on demand. And we'll see you again next week on Inside New York.